Welcome to a country case study on Singapore by me, Nicholas Andrews, for EDTC 645. Many individuals consider the US to be one of the greatest countries in the world. However, according to the 2015 Program for an International Studies Assessment, better known as the PISA, US students rank 35th in math, 24th in reading, and 25th in science when compared to their global peers. These results may be humbling to some, but also brings to mind an important question. Why? This question is difficult to answer and has been the driving force behind the research of many educational stakeholders and organizations. Instead of focusing on what the US is doing, many researchers have decided to examine the structure and policies of other countries to determine what they are doing to be more successful in terms of educating their students. Some researchers, including myself, had decided to focus their attention on the country ranked number 1 in math, reading, and science, according to the 2015 PISA results. That country being Singapore. This report will focus on comparing the US and Singapore school systems, primarily in terms of technology integration, while determining what the US school system can learn from the success of Singapore's educational system. Singapore is a relatively young, small, and culturally diverse country which gained its independence in 1965. In the beginning, most of Singapore's population was undereducated, but its educational system has quickly risen to be an exemplar of modern education. Although Singapore used to focus heavily on traditional teaching methods, such as teacher-led instruction with lots of drill and practice, Singapore's government had transitioned into a modern pedagogical framework which became known as the Teach Less, Learn More. Under the Teach Less, Learn More framework, Singapore has focused on the quality of instruction, not quantity. According to Singapore's Ministry of Education, teaching will be focused on developing understanding, critical thinking, and the ability to ask questions and seek answers and solutions under the Teach Less, Learn More framework. In addition to the Teach Less, Learn More framework, Singapore's Ministry of Education has also focused its attention on integrating information and communication technologies into the school system. Starting in 1997, the Ministry of Education has designed and implemented 4 different master plans aimed at revolutionizing teaching and learning through technology. The original master plan aimed to supply schools with the basic technology infrastructure and train teachers to use technology to enhance student learning. Since then, the Ministry of Education has continued to train teachers and support technology integration in all Singapore schools. In terms of technology integration, there are several differences between the current state of the US and Singapore educational system. Based on my personal experiences in current school district, the US is failing at effectively integrating technology into the current educational system for several reasons. For one, the US schools and districts widely vary on technology policies and access. In my current school district, there are major differences between schools in terms of technology access. While some schools may have the latest and greatest technology devices and applications, others continue to work with outdated laptops and computers. Therefore, it is difficult for students and teachers to use technology without the appropriate access. Besides varying policies and access, many teachers are undertrained in current technology systems and best teaching practices. In my 5 years as a teacher, I have only received several hours of in-district training dedicated to enhancing student learning through technology. Although my personal desire and interest in instructional technology has helped me develop the skills needed to effectively teach through the use of technology, most teachers do not realize the transformative power technology can have on teaching and learning. Instead of leveraging technology, teachers continue to go untrained throughout their professional careers. As a result of undertrained teachers, most classes are taught using traditional teaching methods. This includes teacher-led instruction through lecture-based lessons. Students are usually only required to remember specific facts and processes instead of constructing their own knowledge through student-centered learning experiences. Therefore, most students find school as a boring formality with little to no effect on their lives. Students are typically underengaged in lessons, but continue to earn good grades for minimum effort. Lastly, U.S. school administrators, school boards, and other governing bodies only give minimal support towards technology integration. Although they are not calling for less technology, they do not pledge full support to modernizing U.S. schools. At this time, most teachers will receive praise for using any sort of technology in the classroom, even if it does not adhere to the best teaching practices. Unfortunately, most U.S. school administrators, school boards, and other educational stakeholders do not completely realize how technology can and should be used to modernize education. In contrast, the Singapore educational system has dedicated itself to being one of the best in terms of technology integration. Perhaps one of the biggest differences in is Singapore's centralized education system. Singapore's Ministry of Education oversees the entire school system. All Singapore schools adhere to the same set of national standards and curriculum. Furthermore, all students take the same national examinations at the end of their primary and secondary schooling. The curriculum and national examinations are closely aligned and remain coherent throughout the country. Also, the centralized education system allows the Ministry of Education to implement top-down reforms based on student performance and best teaching practices. Through the centralized education system and educational reforms, Singapore has also been able to establish the technology infrastructure needed to provide all students and teachers access to up-to-date technologies. Some of these reforms include the Ministry of Education's Information and Communication Technology Master Plans, which started in 1997. The first master plan established the need for appropriate technology devices within every school. According to Dr. Pak T. Ning, Master Plan 1 started out by aiming to allow students to have computer usage for 30% of their curriculum time in fully networked schools at a computer to pupil ratio of 1:2. Since then, the Ministry of Education has continued to expand the technology infrastructure by funding additional technology devices and allowing students to use their own mobile devices. Besides the established technology infrastructure, the Ministry of Education master plans have also centered around the need of ongoing professional development for teachers. The master plans note the necessity of keeping teachers up to date on current instructional technologies and best practice. For instance, Master Plan 1 required all teachers to attend 30 hours of school-based professional development on the integration of information and communication technology into the school curriculum. The later master plans continued to offer school-based professional development programs for specific subjects and teachers and created mentors for all subject areas. Currently, Singapore teachers continue to receive professional development opportunities through professional learning communities. Even with set technology integration standards and policies, the Singapore education system would not have been able to accomplish its level of technology integration without the full support of the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education not only set the technology integration standards and policies, but also reinforced them by holding all schools and teachers accountable. However, the Ministry of Education also empowers schools and teachers to be successful with technology integration through ample funding and support systems. Technology integration is not a fad for Singapore schools, but a fully supported ideal across all members of Singapore's educational system. From this comparison, it is clear to see that the US and Singapore education systems have entirely different approaches to technology integration. These differences, especially in terms of professional development, are even more notable after reviewing interviews with Dr. Pak T. Ning, a professor at Singapore's National Institute of Education, and Rosmelia Kasman, a senior teacher at Kranji Secondary School in Singapore. In an interview conducted by C.M. Rubin, Dr. Pak T. Ning states, "The Ministry of Education provides our teachers with many professional development opportunities regarding the use of ICT in the classroom. Schools have many professional learning communities, and some of these professional learning communities explore how teachers can use blended technology in teaching and learning. Dr. Pak Ting Ni also states, other than professional development, we use the strategy of exposing our teachers to the technological possibilities and supporting them exploring new pedagogies with technology. He goes on to state, the focus is not on technology, it is on using technology to enhance teaching and learning. However, Dr. Pak Ting Ning's statements are also supported by Stanford Scope's video documentary based on Rosamelia Kasman's daily life as a teacher. Rosamelia Kasman explains that her typical work week includes about 12 hours of academic teaching, 5 hours of assembly and co-curricular activities, and 19 hours of professional learning and planning time. The Stanford Scope documentary also states, professional learning and mentoring are considered integral to the role of teaching of the teacher in Singapore and a cornerstone of school improvement. And that beginning teachers in Singapore typically teach 2/3 the number of classes of experienced teachers so they can work with their mentor and continue their learning. While working with a beginning teacher, Rosamelia explains that my job as a senior teacher is to look into his professional development in terms of his teaching in class, his pedagogy, and whether he has enough content knowledge to supplement his lesson. From these interviews, it is clear to see that Singapore values its teachers in their ongoing professional development. Many hours of a Singapore teacher's work week are allocated to professional development and learning, which may be a contributing factor to Singapore's educational success. But what can the US learn from Singapore? While US teachers receive pre-service training and some professional development opportunities, it is nowhere near the amount and quality of training and professional development opportunities given to Singapore teachers. The US educational system, including my school district, can learn the importance of ongoing professional development on student learning from Singapore. Most US teachers teach for the entire day and receive only a few hours of professional development each year. Many organizations do offer professional development opportunities for US teachers, but usually during after school hours on a volunteer basis. Instead of requiring teachers to teach all day long, the US may want to consider dedicating specific times for teacher professional development that is required and fits within the teacher's workday. These professional developments do not need to be fully dedicated to technology integration, but could be used for such purposes. Along with offering more professional development opportunities, the US education system, especially my school district, may also consider using a mentoring program similar to Singapore. As a relatively new teacher, I remember there was one mentor teacher who was a retired teacher that was the mentor for all new teachers at my school and several other schools. Although my mentor was helpful, there was little time to meet and discuss my personal progress. Instead, most mentoring meetings were held in small groups with my peers and revolved around very generic teaching methods, pedagogy, and content knowledge. I would have preferred to have a mentor teacher within my subject area, which would help me on specific skills related to my content. Mentoring programs similar to Singapore's would allow new teachers to fully develop and feel less overwhelmed with the demands of a teacher. By working with a mentor teacher, new teachers would be able to develop the necessary skills needed to be an effective educator, and perhaps more new teachers will remain in the profession. In conclusion, the US can learn a lot about professional development and new teacher mentoring from the successful Singapore education system. By enhancing the current professional development and mentoring programs, I believe the US can increase student achievement and become one of the top-ranked educational systems in the world. Through professional development and mentoring programs, the US can improve its technology integration and provide students with 21st century learning experiences needed to produce quality members of the global workforce. Until the US educational system learns from more successful school systems, such as Singapore, our students will continue to rank lower than expected to the global community. When the U.S. decides to embrace successful models of professional development and new teacher mentoring, teachers will be more effective teachers and our students will be more successful students.